Hi and welcome back or welcome to my All the Perfume YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing my perfume regrets. I think that relative to the size of my collection and the amount of perfumes that I've chosen, bought and asked my family to buy for me over the years, I have been pretty lucky that I usually do remain happy with those perfumes for a decent amount of time. But in the last couple of months, I've been thinking about my perfume regrets. Perfumes that either disappointed me or most likely had me wondering why I ever chose them in the first place. So I do have a list of scents that I'm going to go through individually, and I'm sure there are a few more that I haven't thought of. But for now, let's get into my perfume regrets. My first perfume regret is Boudoir Sin Garden by Vivienne Westwood. And I know exactly what happened here, because the original Boudoir is actually one of my all-time favourite perfumes ever. It's this amazing mix of patchouli and carnation. It smells good on warm skin. I love it for winter and it's really unique. So when we had the flanker Sin Garden come along, the collector in me was just like, well, I need that in my collection. That's going on my wish list. But had I paid attention to Sin Garden and the very floral notes that are in the perfume, I would have known better that actually it wasn't a scent profile that I would enjoy. When I received the scent for what I think was my birthday, it was pleasant, it was green, aldehydic, but it just wasn't a me scent at all, and I soon parted ways with it. I really do think that if that perfume had been released under any other name or brand, it would have never made it to my wish list. So certainly a perfume regret, but I can see why me 15 years ago felt I had to have it. My next perfume regret is Ange by Givenchy, and this one was launched in 2006 at a similar sort of time to Sin Garden. And once again, I feel like I know what was going on here. It would have been a new launch, I would have tried it and appreciated how distinctive I felt the perfume was. You've got in there thyme, saffron, lily, oak moss, vanilla, and I think the fact it felt really different meant for me it seemed like a must-have. So again, I would have received it for my birthday, I think. Worn it a couple of times, enjoyed the kind of putting it on and the feeling of something different. And it wasn't long before I just couldn't stand it. I found the smell really heavy, overpowering and nauseating, in fact. I had to part ways with my bottle. And you know, I think with some of those notes now, I do enjoy them in perfumes. I normally like saffron these days. I like thyme in scents, but Ange just feels herby in a way that doesn't suit me. And my sister and I actually have a little bit of a joke with this scent because she still has her bottle, and when she wears it, it's almost like I'm repelled. So I feel like it has become the only perfume that I can really safely say I can't stand, that I really strongly dislike. But it's a perfume regret for me because once upon a time I had wanted it in my collection. Just Me by Paris Hilton is my next perfume regret, and it is with regret that I say that because actually I really enjoyed the rest of the Paris Hilton collection. I've got a big collection of the scents. I've owned many of the other bottles in the past, and I will link all the relevant videos below for you to go back on if you haven't already. And with Just Me, it was her second launch. The campaign was really pretty. We had the same shaped bottle as her first scent, Paris Hilton, and I wanted to like it. I wanted it in my collection. I'm a collector. It felt like the right thing to do. With the notes, you had woods, vanilla, pink pepper, violet. It was all seeming good. But the smell is really medicinal. It just didn't work for me, and I think way back when, I even, after parting ways with it, rebought the bottle, trying to make it work. I even had a heart shape of the scent at one point, a really cute bottle from the line. But the scent isn't for me. So even in the last year when I thought, you know, I'll revisit that, I'm sure I can give it a new go. No, it's not a perfume for me. But funnily enough, the male counterpart to Just Me is really good and has sea notes and mahogany and bergamot and smells really amazing. So it kind of felt like with the men's perfume, what they'd wanted to do with the women's just kind of doesn't come off in the women's version for me. So yeah, sadly, Just Me is another perfume regret. We have another throwback now with Forever by Mariah Carey. And this was launched as her second perfume, with M being the first. Now I love M, I still have a bottle, and it's a really beautifully done marshmallow scent basically. So when Forever came along, because I loved M and I love Mariah, I absolutely wanted a bottle of it in my collection. We have in the scent apple, lily of the valley, gardenia, tuberose. And I absolutely should have known that me back then could not handle a tuberose note in perfume. It just used to give me a headache pretty much instantly when I wore a scent with the note in. And that's what happened with Forever. And it was a shame because I feel like it was quite classic feeling. The bottle was beautiful and very display worthy, but the scent to my nose just felt kind of screechy and too strong, and I don't think it's a scent I could even wear now, even though in general I can wear and enjoy tuberose. It was too heavy for me in Forever, and definitely a perfume regret. For something more recent, my next perfume regret is Cosmic by Kylie Jenner, and as well as the fact that it was launched far more recently than the perfumes I've just talked about, the difference with me is that by this point I am a perfume reviewer, so a motivation for buying the perfume, a blind buy as well, was that I wanted to review it for YouTube and for Instagram. Now there was a personal interest there too, because I really love Kylie's collaboration with KKW Fragrance with her Nude lip scent. I really love that perfume. I need to wear it soon. I had high hopes for Cosmic, and the note sounded good. We've got star jasmine, red peony, musk and vanilla, and it looked like an intriguing launch. So I bought it, I reviewed it, I found it quite familiar, and to this day I still don't quite know what it is that I'm smelling that it reminds me of. So many people think it is like Katy Perry's Killer Queen, and it is really similar. It's certainly very floral, it's heavy on the musk, it's pretty, but I think, as well as not being a me scent typically, another problem with the perfume is that the influencers that were shown online talking about the perfume really did seem to say that it was groundbreaking, and a few of them were saying it was the best thing they'd ever smelled. So I just couldn't help be influenced by that and expect something more different, and it wasn't. It's nice, but I just knew I wouldn't reach for it, so I had to part ways with it. And I can objectively see that it'd be a good perfume for somebody who doesn't have a lot of perfume, like a pretty reliable day scent that would be hard to dislike. Just for me, it's not a me scent. It doesn't feel exactly that. It doesn't feel me enough or different enough that I needed a bottle in my own collection. My next perfume regret was Ralph Rocks by Ralph Lauren, and it was launched in 2006. And it followed Romance and Glamorous and Pure Turquoise, like 3 perfumes that I just loved, and for 2 of those wish were still available now. So for me it was just a logical step that if Ralph Lauren brought something out, I would want to try the perfume and buy it without too much thought. So having looked back at the perfume ready for my filming, I was quite surprised to see that there was kiwi and passion fruit in the scent, and I love those notes in perfume. Along with that you have your sandalwood and amber, but for me actually to smell that perfume, it was distinctive and well done, but it was spicy orange. And so even though I could enjoy smelling it in my collection, I never actually wanted to smell of it. So yeah, it wasn't bad. It's a good scent if you want that kind of smell, but it wasn't a me perfume. I was just doing my thing and collecting like everything that came out from the designer. Now I'm going to talk about Kate Moss's perfume line. She had a couple of really good perfumes. Her first, Kate, launched in 2007, was a really pretty rose scent that I just kept revisiting. And even though it wasn't a love at first, I still have a bottle actually, and it kind of gives you like a rock and rose Valentino vibe. So that one was well done. And then she brought out Velvet Hour, which is a real love for me, and it is this gorgeous black pepper sandalwood scent in a beautiful bottle too. But then the theme here with this video is that the collector in me got the better of me, because after that along came quite a few flankers of the original scent. So we had a summer edition, we had a wild meadow edition, just perfumes that just don't lend themselves to my taste. I don't really like summer editions of scents, and I'm not really into kind of green smells either. So I'd bought those 2 and regretted it. But then the main regret, I guess, was a perfume called Vintage that she brought out. And with this one, there were some promising notes. There was pink pepper, almond blossom, but the effect for me just didn't work, and it was kind of off and quite stale. I almost feel like it's what Twilight by Sarah Jessica Parker does for me, where that's kind of like a wardrobe musty smell, but Vintage just takes it too far and feels like I'm smelling something old and past its best. So that was a perfume regret too. And thinking about it and looking back at Kate Moss's perfumes, I think I even had the Lila Bell perfumes too, which were sweet and floral, but just not perfumes I needed to own, but of course had collected because I wanted everything. When Jessica Simpson launched Fancy Nights, her third perfume, I was in full-on collector mode still, and I love so many of her perfumes, and Fancy, the first perfume, is another scent that I just talk about so much. I've said for years it's my favourite perfume. It is this really delicious combination of pear, caramel and vanilla that basically smells like cotton candy altogether. So Fancy was very much a me scent, and then when Fancy Nights came along, it had this beautiful green bottle, and it was said to smell like Prada by Prada, and I know that that was a very popular scent at the time. But when I smelled Fancy Nights, I could appreciate that it was a well done perfume that smelled expensive, you know, given its celebrity price point, but the patchouli oak moss combination just, for me, smelled like incense, a strong incense, and it just wasn't a scent profile that I could get on with or want to smell of. So I love so many of Jessica Simpson's perfumes, and I've bought some since. I still kind of keep an eye on her style site on Instagram to see if anything new will come along, but Fancy Nights was a regret. It wasn't a me scent and shouldn't have been one that I blind bought. I've really enjoyed putting this list together, and as I filmed, I know there are a few more scents that I could have talked about, so I kind of want to create a part 2. Please do let me know what you think of any of the scents I've mentioned, but also your own perfume regrets. I think I've learned some lessons along the way here with my perfumes. Blind buying is obviously at your own risk when it comes to scents, but also just, I know now not to be completely a collector. Like, just because something is by a brand or a house or a person doesn't mean I will like it. So yeah, I spend a little bit more time, a lot more time now before I buy a perfume. But also, I kind of find that anything that is a summer edition of a scent isn't usually right for me, or anything particularly floral. So that is how I feel about my perfume regrets, what I look out for these days, and I would really love to hear more from you in the comments. Please do give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and remember to subscribe to my channel as well. There are lots of videos to go back on and lots coming up as well. Please do go and find me on Instagram, on TikTok, and also my blog. Thank you again, and I will see you in my next video.